Let's talk about pet moves. And no, I'm not referring to this guy here. With a title like Pet Moves, you would not expect this to probably be one of the most important videos early on for learning fighting games. But again, as I've mentioned, one of the goals of First Attack is to teach you how to learn fighting games, how to teach yourself, and this is one of the perfect ways to do it. So what am I talking about when I talk about pet moves? Well, I mentioned in another video that, when you start playing a fighting game, you just have access to a bazillion moves right from the get-go. As soon as the round starts, you have to start making a decision of what buttons and what attacks to press in between all of your movement. And so this is where pet moves comes in. It's exactly what it sounds like. Picking like 4 or 5 moves available from your character and just focusing on those buttons, finding certain moves to be your pet moves, your go-tos that you're going to use for the majority of the fight. So how do you go about picking some pet moves early on in a fighting game? Well, if you remember in a previous video, I talked about learning about lights, mediums, and heavies. And this is why I wanted to establish that concept, because for your pet moves, you're going to want to make sure that you pick one of each. You're going to want to pick a light, a medium, and a heavy attack to use as your pet moves. So this way, you're going to get used to the idea of using different strength attacks depending on your opponent's distance by having one of each of these buttons to go to and just kind of build the muscle memory for. That actually helps narrow down the entire gigantic list of moves into just 3 common moves. I did say 4 to 5 moves that you probably want to learn because, in most fighting games, you're going to want to learn a special move. So, for example, if you're Ryu in Street Fighter, you're going to want to learn to throw a fireball, or if you're Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat, you want to throw the ice ball out at people, and then maybe just a 5th move that you add in there for whatever reasons that you feel like you need while playing the fighting game. So how does this help you grow as a fighting game player? Well, one of the first things you'll notice is I haven't said anything about what kind of move to use, right? I just said light, medium, or heavy. And in many games, that's a choice between like 4 or 5 per category of moves that you have available to you. Well, this is one of the important things that you'll learn first of all. As you're looking for a light, medium, and a heavy, you're gonna start pressing buttons with your characters and you're just gonna go, this looks like a pretty decent move, and so I'm trying to help you learn how to start evaluating your own normal attacks. And trust me, learning how to evaluate your own moves is going to be so critical for you to become a stronger and stronger player. The second thing that this teaches you is the concept of what I like to call instant recall. When you watch a lot of high-level players out there and they get put into this weird situation and they know the exact thing to do, or you see the opponent open themselves up and they just have the exact combo they know what to do, and you're just like, how in the world did they think of that? They probably didn't. And what most likely happened is that they've been in that situation several times before, and what to do at that time was just purely instant recall. And here's another James Chen axiom for you. A lot about fighting games is building up this giant library of what to do in given situations so that instant recall is actually your most valuable friend. And so that's what Pet Moves is doing. I am telling you to start building your instant recall library with these first few pet moves, so that if the opponent gets up close to you, you automatically instant recall that light button you've chosen as your pet move to try to stuff the opponent and push them away. And so at that point, what you're trying to do is learn how to not think about what buttons to use. But there is a caveat to this whole situation, and that is the third thing that I'm trying to teach you. Remember, in the intro video, I talked about how fighting games are just as much about unlearning things as it is about learning things. A lot of times when you play fighting games, you're gonna find out a lot of the things that you choose to do with your character doesn't work and it's not effective, or different moves are gonna have different qualities. Maybe you've picked a pet move that's actually not very good. And so one of the important things about pet moves is that it's gonna teach you how to change your pet moves, how to unlearn things and find moves that are better than the ones that you have already chosen. For example, if you have this medium button that you thought was wonderful range and you keep hitting it all the time and you just find out you're getting outranged by your opponents all day, go through your character's move list and take a look and be like, I need something longer than this, and you'll start evaluating this. And then once you start playing the matches again, your muscle memory and instant recall is gonna keep pulling you back to your original pet move. And what this is now going to teach you is how to unlearn that muscle memory, how to fight that muscle memory, and how to break that instant recall for a different instant recall. So even though the idea of using pet moves sounds like it might be a bad idea, like I shouldn't just get used to using some things, or how do I know if I pick the right buttons? These are unimportant questions. The important thing here is that you're trying to get yourself on this path of understanding how to learn, how to grow, how to switch it up as you're playing fighting games, how to adapt. So again, don't worry about whether you're picking the right moves or not. As you progress in the fighting game, you're gonna start with these 4 to 5 pet moves. But as you keep playing, you're gonna be like, wait a second, these moves are good, but I really need another move that anti-airs, that hit people out of their jumps. And so you add a 6th move to your pet moves. But the cool thing about it is that the other 5 are already in your muscle memory, in your instant recall. So adding the 6th and the 7th is not overwhelming. And then you slowly add the 8th and the 9th and the 10th. And at that point in time, you're going to grow organically. And that is the important part. If you jump into a fighting game and go, I need to find out what all of these attacks are useful for, it's too much. It's too much. And so you keep adding more books to the library. You know exactly where to find them. And I realize that using libraries is such an archaic analogy, but whatever, you get the idea. The point is that you're building it organically, and you know what? At some points you're going to forget some books exist because they aren't interesting anymore, and so you keep adding books and taking some away. But as you build this repertoire, that's gonna help you learn how to use the giant moveset your character has. And that is a good way to learn your character. And if these videos you consider a good way of learning fighting games, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below, and check the description below for the link to the playlist of all of these First Attack videos. Again, my name is James Chen. You can follow me on Twitter at JChenzor. And remember, you cannot KO your opponent without your first attack.